Hello and welcome back to another Millennial Minute. I'm David Grasso. Today's topic, should you go out to dinner? You've already heard from our guest, friend of Bold, Max Burns. He's a commentator, and Joe Collins, a congressional candidate from California. So governments are sending mixed signals, right? Like here in Florida, I went out to dinner last night, right? But in New York, that would be impossible. Joe, you said you think it's a better idea to just move on with normal life. Why do you think that?
Well, because the evidence to suggest that the shutdowns, closing down our businesses, wearing masks, socially distancing to slow the spread has absolutely failed. I mean, we're going into the 13th month of a 2-week shutdown, and things are still the same as if it was just started. The lack of transparency from the government to the people when it comes to the handling of coronavirus has been utterly poor. And I think that, we just have to move forward.
Yeah, Max, Joe makes a point, right? We've been doing this for quite a long time, and there doesn't seem to be a big numerical difference between places that, shut down restaurants and places that didn't. Do you think that it really does help slow the spread?
Yeah, I think when Joe says that we've been hurt by a lack of transparency from the government, that's absolutely true. And hopefully, under President Biden, that will start to change. What we've seen, though, is in December, the CDC issued a report saying that coronavirus increases in restaurants as capacity increases, especially if they can't maintain 6 feet of distance. So it's not just my opinion, it's the medical experts of the government who are saying data has shown that coronavirus becomes a problem when you open restaurants at full or even half capacity.
The rules have seemed kind of ridiculous. Joe, over there in LA, a video went viral of a movie set serving food to their people in a tent, and right next door, a tent for a restaurant not being able to be opened. I'm sure you heard about that. Aren't these rules random? Like you have to wear a mask and then you sit down and then no mask. And like, does anyone understand that, Joe? Or is it just me that's confused?
I think a lot of people are confused. And you know what? I think it's crazy how the CDC can say that you can't sit in a restaurant and eat, yet you can go out and rally all day and act a complete ass because you dislike the federal government. So the fact that the CDC can say something as dumb as, oh, you can't sit in a restaurant because it's a hotbed, it kind of baffles me right now.
Yeah, that's a good point, Max. Remember over the summer and now more recently with the protest supporters of Trump coming out to the Capitol recently. Like, what aren't these mixed messages? So it's safe to protest, but it's not safe to be in restaurants, but it's safe to go back to school. Like, I'm concerned about the scientific validity of all of this.
Well, I think on restaurants, the CDC's message has been very clear, which is as capacity goes up, COVID incidence goes up. And that's something you don't need to trust me or even the medical experts on. You can look at Texas and Florida, which back in June of last year reopened restaurants and bars and then had to reclose them after they became COVID hotspots. And they did that at great expense to business owners, which isn't fair either. And that's why I said I agree with Joe that the lack of leadership here, the lack of transparency has really caused business owners, especially, to chase their tails trying to understand how to be safe and how to comply.
Well, just mind you, and that's not what you're saying, Max, was true in South Florida. Here in Central Florida, where I'm sitting, the restaurants never closed again. But you are correct. In places in Texas and parts of Florida, restaurants had to be closed again. And you are correct also about the effect of business. But that begs another question, right? Is it even make sense to operate a restaurant at 25% capacity, or is it not a worthwhile effort? Joe?
I don't think it's a worthwhile effort. Being a business owner myself, I think that you lose money trying to operate a restaurant at 25% by just closing your restaurant down altogether. But that brings me to a point that the federal government, when it comes to giving stimulus, like Max said, they should have been giving stimulus to the small businesses, to the low income families, to the middle class families, instead of hundreds of trillions of dollars to sex change over in Pakistan. It's just utterly ridiculous.
Well, I think Max will agree with you on the stimulus front. Max, go ahead.
No, absolutely. And I look forward to seeing President Biden has said a COVID stimulus with small business support is chief among his priorities for his first 100 days. And my hope is that that will happen because it's certainly not fair to business owners to have them opening, closing, changing with state regulations. Either give consistent guidance or give support. And in some cases, I think both are going to be necessary because we've just gone so long without any kind of leadership.
So, Joe, if possible, I know you're in LA and you can't go out to dinner. Would you go out to dinner?
I would go out to dinner. I'll make dinner and go to the beach and eat on the beach just to be out of the house.
Yeah. How about you, Max? You're in New York. You can't go out to dinner, but theoretically, let's say New York were open. Would you go out to dinner?
We can go out to dinner outside, but no, if I want to support the local restaurants, which everybody should, order delivery, order takeout with contactless drop off. That's a great way to support businesses, but stimulus is the way to do this right.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, I really appreciate the conversation. Max and Joe, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching. We have many, many more videos on these topics and much more. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and I'm probably missing a few more at Bold TV. We'll see you soon.